Elliot here from Movie Files, sharing with you all my spoiler-free movie review for the film First Man, which was directed by Damien Chazelle. So thank you for tuning in, thank you for clicking this video, and let's jump right into this spoiler-free review for First Man.
Got this under control.
We don't have anything under control.
What's going on, Neil?
Alrighty guys, so like I said up top, this is a spoiler-free review, so I'm just going to touch on the story elements that I kind of picked out of the film, the performances, the direction in this film, as well as give you guys a little bit of my negatives, and then at the end give you my overall thoughts and a score at the end of this video. So with that being said, if you guys aren't too familiar with this movie, it stars Ryan Gosling, Clarke, you have Jason Clarke, Kyle Chandler, and Corey Stoll, a really solid cast. And this movie basically is based on the book. I believe the book is called First Man, a Neil Armstrong story or something of that nature. And it basically just follows the years up to his mission to Apollo 11 to go to the moon in 1969. So it's a biopic drama. And again, just kind of touching on the story elements, I really enjoyed what was brought to the screen. Now, again, I am a history buff when it comes to certain things, but I really wasn't too familiar about some of the things that took place during this time and some of the different characters that, that were introduced in this film. So a lot of the stuff was fresh and new to me, which was very surprising as far as the things that we got and the things that we find out about this film. I thought there were two things that were done well in this film. There was a lot of things done, but I thought that the movie had to do a good job of telling two stories. Number one, the space race, the United States of America versus everyone else in the world trying to be the first ones to land on the moon, and watching all of the effects, the way it affect the country, the way that some people feel it was a waste of money to do all these tests to go to the moon, and obviously people thought that it wasn't worth the lives that were risked and lost during these times. So I thought that was handled well as just showing all the individuals that were a part of this mission to go to the moon. So I thought that aspect was handled well, and I'll touch on the scale and everything, how it looked, them going to space when I talk about the direction of the film. But the other aspect of the story did a good job is the human element. This film is a biopic, so we get to know Neil Armstrong and kind of his family dynamic to a sense, as well as the other the other people that he interacted with. And I thought that element really was it meshed well with, again, the space race versus the human element. I thought that those two things really brought a good, tight story, an interesting story to this film. Going on to the actual performances, so Ryan Gosling is an actor that I've always seen a lot of his work. I remember seeing him back on Remember the Titans, a lot of his early things that I enjoyed. But recently, for me, Blade Runner 2049 was my eye-opener. I know he's had some great performances in Drive and all those different things, but for me, Blade Runner 2049 is my favorite film 2017, and ever since then, I've really just kind of looked at his other films and just really appreciate his work. And this film is nothing less of a great performance by Ryan Gosling as Neil Armstrong. The emotional beats were there. You can it's all in the eyes with this character, and just because he doesn't really give too many emotions. Because again, from what I've heard of Neil Armstrong, he was a very private, kind of kept to himself. But it was all in the eyes with Ryan Gosling's performance, and he was a man of few words, but the words he said had a lot of impact. So I thought the performance, his portrayal of Neil Armstrong was really great, and I wouldn't be surprised if his name comes up, next year as far as Best Actor. I mean, he did a really good job in this film. But for me, the standout by far, this is my first time being exposed to Claire Foy. I know she's in The Crown. I heard she's great in that. I know she was in a movie earlier this year, Insane, which I haven't seen yet, but I've heard great things about it. But this is my first time being exposed to her, and she was the MVP for me in this film. Her performance, her being the wife of Neil Armstrong, and her interacting with her kids, knowing that their dad is risking his life and might not come back home, and their dynamic, husband and wife, and there's a certain story element that I didn't know of that happens pretty early in the film, and her, her dealing with that. So her dealing with her friend, and definitely see Unsane and see some other films of her, because I thought that her performance was just phenomenal in this movie. And then just kind of round out the cast, Jason Clarke, Kyle Chandler, Corey Stoll, and everyone else that was involved in this film did a great job. So overall, it was but a great performance by everybody that was on screen. So on to my next point, which was the direction of this film. Damien Chazelle is right now is Damien Chazelle and Denis Villeneuve as far as my favorite directors right now. They are two of the best in the game in my opinion. And Damien Chazelle, prior to this film, Whiplash, fantastic movie. La La Land, one of my favorite films of that year. And this is just seeing his next film, seeing that he went from those two kind of, musical films and character pieces to this, space, epic type of space film with human elements. He just did a great job in this movie. And not just, I'll touch on what he did, but everything else involved in the technical aspect of this film, the look of the film, the cinematography is phenomenal. The score, I believe his name is Justin Hurwitz. I might be pronouncing that wrong, but he's worked with Damien with La La Land and Whiplash. And the score in this movie reminded me of Hans Zimmer, kind of Interstellar vibes. And the score is just so great. And again, like I said, the way it's shot, the way that Damien Chazelle directs his actors, the way he positions the camera, it's just a 3 for 3. This man is 3 for 3 in my opinion as far as films, and I cannot wait to see what he does next, whether it be a full-on drama, a horror film, an action film, a superhero film, or a romantic comedy. He can do whatever he wants. I think this is one of the top directors in the industry, and he shows, why he's one of the best directors in the industry, in my opinion. So I thought the direction was really done really well. So on to my negatives. There was a couple things in the film that didn't really sit well with me. Number one, again, I know what I've heard of Neil Armstrong is very private, and it kind of shows that in the film. There's certain moments where I want a little bit more out of Ryan Gosling's character, a little bit more reaction, but again, I think he's playing to that persona of what I've heard about Neil Armstrong, so that was kind of a nitpick. There were some moments I just wanted a little bit out of the character, and it just wasn't there just because of who his persona was. Another thing, this film takes place over 8 years, so there was times where it was a little jarring because they would show a particular story element and then would fast forward, 2 years later, where I wanted to see kind of what happened during those 2 years. But again, 2 hours, 15 minutes, you're restricted on time, but it was a little jarring at times and create a little bit of a pacing issue where, again, they would show a particular story beat and then we would fast forward 2 or 3 years later. So those were some things that kind of stood out to me as far as negatives, but again, those are kind of nitpicking. This film, to me, guys, kind of finishing up this video here, is a phenomenal feat. Again, the scale of this film, the look, the sound, the performances, the direction, all were great. And again, just those nitpicking things, I'm going to give this film a 4.5 out of 5. I didn't absolutely love it. It wasn't a perfect film to me, but it was a film that I really enjoyed. And there's elements that I absolutely love from this film. Some of the best moments I've seen all year in regards to, again, the score, the look and the feel. The third act of the film is just epic. I didn't see it in IMAX, but I recommend if you get the opportunity to check it out in IMAX to do so. But again, 4.5 out of 5, guys. I really recommend you checking out First Men. I won't be surprised come next year. Best picture, best sound design, best cinematography, best director, best performances. It's that type of film, guys. So there you have it. If you enjoyed this review, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up, share, comment below on once you've seen the film, what you thought of the movie, as well as let me know some of your favorite Ryan Gosling, Damien Chazelle films. Let me know in the comment section, guys. So there you have it. That's my review. Follow us on all of our social media accounts, which you can find in the description below, as well as keep an eye out for some more reviews that we'll have coming to you guys shortly. Right now, we have A Star is Born on our channel, and also we have our movie and TV bucket list for the month of October. So there you have it, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next video. Alrighty, so thank you for staying to the last part of this video. Do us a favor, subscribe to our channel, check out our other content, and as always, we appreciate all the support, and we'll see you guys on the next video.